Hi there, Colleen Adrian here. I want to talk a little bit today about what might be going on if you are doing your best to parent your kids differently than you were parented yourself, but you're still having a hard time. You might be reading a book, you might be taking courses, you might be just trying to do it differently based on what you remember from how you were parented. And sometimes that works for changing our parenting patterns. Sometimes that helps us to become the parents we want to be, and sometimes it doesn't. Um, Sometimes it doesn't help us to make the changes that we deeply long for. And that was what happened for me. So when my son was around 3 years old or so, that would have been in 2006, I bought what was then a really new book by Gabor Mate and Gordon Neufeld called Hold On to Your Kids. And I can't remember the subtitle, something about why parents, your relationship with your parents needs to matter more than peers. And I loved it. They talked all about how the connection between parents was important and how that's what our kids really needed to feel safe and secure and to build a secure attachment. And I knew that that was what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to have a really strong, secure bond with my son. I wanted to be the person that he knew he could safely come to if he was struggling with something. So I read the book. I was really excited. It definitely was helpful. And I also still really struggled with some things and I couldn't figure it out for a long time. Um, and I often felt like I was failing. I felt like, when things were good, that was great. But when things weren't working, when I couldn't get my son to cooperate, and I lost my patience and lost my temper and was irritable or overwhelmed a lot, I really couldn't figure out what was going on. And it wasn't until I discovered nervous system regulation, which was around 2016 or 17, I think. My son was about 13. And that was when I found the missing ingredient. That was something that was missing for me. Um, and it was really the beginning of a new chapter for me, right? When I look back, I can really see the trajectory of how things have continuously shifted since then. And I'm recording this in 2024, so my son is 20 now. Um, so I now know that when you're trying to change patterns from your own family of origin and intergenerational patterns, and that the book strategies aren't working and the courses aren't getting you to where you want to go, often it can be the nervous system patterning that's running the show, basically. So old memory imprints from your own past experiences from when you were a child that are still wired into your nervous system. And that patterning impacts how you behave now still, right? And that's often the root of when we get triggered quickly and easily, and we are not sure what the cause is. That's often what's going on. Those early memory imprints that are still in our nervous system are still kind of running the show, right? So that's a reason that, in addition to still doing some parent coaching, I've also moved towards doing more somatic work with clients because it's been something that's really made the biggest difference for me. Sometimes practical strategies are all that's needed. Other times, when there's those old patterns involved, sometimes it takes a little bit more. And the first step, if you're thinking, well, how do you do that? The first step is often just awareness of our own bodies and nervous system, right? Checking in, like, how do I know that I'm regulated? Am I regulated right now? And how do I know that? What in my body tells me that I'm regulated or not? And when I notice that I'm starting to get a little bit dysregulated, how quickly do I notice is the first thing, because often when we first start learning this, we go quite quickly into being triggered. And that's what somatic therapy, one of the things that it helps with is just kind of slowing that down so that there's a little bit more pause and there's a little bit more choice in the situation. And then once I've realized that I might be slipping down a path towards getting dysregulated, or sometimes when I still maybe completely lose it and I do become dysregulated and lose my cool. what are the tools that I can use to support my body and my nervous system to come back into a regulated state, right? So those are some of the beginning steps and some of the things that happen in somatic therapy. And from there, it's possible to explore updating the memory imprints and rewiring the nervous system. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, somatic therapy really has the potential to open up more choice. And what that means is that instead of automatically reacting or sort of going down that same path very quickly of getting triggered by stressor, whether it's kids or whether it's your job or your partner, we gain a little bit more conscious awareness, a bit more awareness of our body, and a little bit more ability to pause before reacting. And the changes happen in small increments over time. They don't happen overnight. That's been my experience. And how long it takes depends a lot on many things. Anyways, that's something that I discuss with clients if they're interested when we have a free chat. Yeah, it depends on your background. It depends on what other supports you have in place, whether you're doing any other types of therapy that might be helpful, such as acupuncture or massage or whatever. Um, Anyways, that's a little bit about how relational somatic therapy can help with parenting. As always, I don't suggest that this is something that might be for everyone. I always encourage people to check in with your body, check in and see how you feel. See if it feels like something that you're drawn to or not. And if you're drawn to it, there might be something there for you, right? And that's the reason that I also have a chat with people before they get started, just so they can feel sure that it's something that they want to try or check out. So it's from that place of being more regulated ourselves, when we learn a little bit more about regulation, that we begin to um, be able to go down a path of becoming more of the parent we want to be. We build some capacity, we make a move in that direction, right? And it's a practice. So if you'd like to know more about that, I'll put some links down below about some to some related videos and also to my website where there's a little bit more in writing and you can learn a bit more about it. So thanks for listening. And there's also a link on the website if you wanted to book a free chat. So again, thanks for listening. I hope that was helpful.